While flying is an extremely safe mode of travel, that doesn't mean that you won't experience a hair-raising plane ride every now and again. At a rate of about one fatal accident per 2.5 million flights, and half of those accidents occur during one very short phase of the trip. Takeoff and landing are widely considered the most dangerous parts of a flight, but that's only partially true. Boeing keeps track of fatal commercial jet accidents every year and categorizes those accidents by when they occurred during the flight. Boeing breaks down the average 1.5-hour flight into 8 phases. But we'll just be looking at these 5. Starting at the beginning, the takeoff and initial climb. This phase takes up only 2% of the entire flight, but it accounts for 14% of fatal accidents. Which might not seem like a lot, until we look at the cruising phase. A plane cruises for more than half of the 1.5-hour trip, but only 11% of fatal accidents happen during this chunk. So that leaves the final descent and landing. They take up about 4% of the average flight, lasting twice as long as takeoff and initial climb. But a whopping 49% of fatal accidents occur in this short window, making the final descent and landing the deadliest part of an average flight. Typically on takeoff and typically on landing, the aircraft is what we would call low and slow, and when problems happen, you don't have a lot of time to actually react. When they're cruising at 36,000 feet, a pilot has the luxury of time and space to course correct. Even if both engines go out, the plane won't just fall out of the sky. It becomes a glider. In this state, a typical airliner loses about a mile in altitude for every 10 moves forward, giving the pilot a little over 8 minutes to find a place to land. But if something goes wrong on the ground, that window shrinks considerably. For a typical commercial jet, takeoff lasts only 30 to 35 seconds. If an engine fails or the landing gear jams, the pilot has almost no time at all to decide whether to take off anyway or to try and wrestle a 175,000-pound metal beast to the ground. Rejected takeoffs are rare. If the plane hasn't taken off or stopped by this point, it's going off the end of the runway, which, depending on the airport, could mean sliding into an open field or off a literal cliff, like at Colorado's Telluride Regional Airport. Its runway is terrifyingly sandwiched between 2,100-foot drops. For dangerous runways like Telluride's airports will install an engineered materials arrestor system. An EMAS is a bed of materials at the end of a runway designed to collapse under the weight of an airplane, gripping its tires and ideally bringing it to a stop before it plummets 1,000 feet off a ledge. Statistics can be scary, but they still say flying is the safest way to travel. And even if an accident were to happen on your next flight, you'd have a 95.7% chance of surviving it.